Street cred sports. Street cred sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping.
Hello, this is Keenan of Street Cred Sports Training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. This is episode 96. I got my guy here.
Let's go.
Mr. Williams.
Let's go.
All right, so full disclosure, been having some issues trying to get my podcast uploaded, and it has met with no success. So I'm trying something new and hoping that we can get this on the road, because we had two that I can't even upload for some reason. I don't know if it's a phone or what, but it's still uploading. It's been uploaded for like 3 damn weeks. And it still ain't got there.
So I think mom had something to do with that, man, because there's some choice words you had on that podcast, those last two. Yeah,
oh, man.
For sure. So mom sent out a message. Hey, no uploading.
So we hope all of y'all are doing well.
Absolutely.
I know we're doing well. My daughter caught me off guard. She was having a bad day, and she actually phoned me, and she's like, like I know, she know that I'm doing training, but father, you know when you hear something, and she was having a bad day, and she was like, and then the sirens are going off. There's a tornado near, and I'm like, she's like, what do I do? Because she's driving home.
Oh, wow.
So I had to try to help her out with that.
Where to?
She's in Lubbock.
Ooh.
She's in Lubbock, and she got to where she needed to get her in-laws, and I think she sent me a couple of videos, the sirens going off and stuff, and then she said she was safe, but she also said that it touched down where her job was. So,
man.
Have you ever heard them sirens?
Unfortunately, I have.
Oh, yeah.
And my first time was this year. I was actually visiting one of my players in Hobbs. I was at actually New Mexico JC, and so I'm driving down the road, so I just thought it was like 10 fire trucks. And then I'm like, no, that's different. Like, that's different. So I'm like, that's a tornado watch. Like, so,
right.
So, I mean, and you can't really see the siren, you just hear them.
No, you can hear them. You
can hear them, and it is different than anything you've heard before.
I think it's probably the scariest noise that you ever want to hear.
For sure.
And I'm from Dallas, so I grew up hearing it, right? Mm-hmm. But my wife was like, I want to move to Dallas. And I said, look, I need to get you up there around spring.
Absolutely.
So you can see if it was, because the storms in Dallas, they're just, they're different.
Man, it's
right. The hail, you see the one where they had the hail, it was a hail about this big outside of Lubbock.
That's crazy.
That's
real crazy.
So we were up there for a funeral, and we're downtown. And during the funeral, normally, like after the funeral, you have the food, people kind of eat,
right.
They talk and reminisce. Shit, everybody was like, getting their place to go. It's like it's gonna be a bad storm coming in later. And it's like you outside and it's like clear, but how it does. They pop up and they explode. So we're at the hotel, and everything, and it's at night. All of a sudden, hear them sirens. My wife says, what's that? I said, oh, that's the sirens. Mm-hmm. She's like, what sirens? It says tornado siren. There's a tornado in the area. It's either touching down or it's about to touch down or it's about to happen. Man, she freaked out, and I had to calm her down and stuff. And it was an experience for her. But it's like, if you ain't never heard them sirens, like you can hear them watching a video and it's a little eerie, but when you're there,
absolutely.
And if it's cloudy and it's storming and you hear those sirens, a lot of times you don't know where it's coming from.
No idea.
And
that was my experience. I was literally driving on the road.
Oh,
we were going to a store, and so I hear fairly well, and so the music was on. I cut the music down. I'm like, oh man. At first I'm like looking around like, no, that's a tornado. Yeah. And that was my experience hearing them online helped because I, not necessarily immediately, but right after that, like maybe 2 seconds, I knew exactly what it was.
Right.
And so, if you're in those areas, you definitely need a radar on your phone.
Yeah,
just to check that out, because those things happen so fast. And Dallas is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, Dallas can be clear, sunny, great, bright. 10 minutes later,
it's going down.
I mean, it is completely dark, and it can be noon.
Yeah.
And it can be, you would think it was like 8 at night.
Yeah, I remember when I was in 3rd grade, we heard the sirens. We had to sit in the hallway. And it's funny because you look at it now, we had to be against the lockers on our knees with our hands like this. And it's like, okay, that's what we're doing. But as you get older, you're like, man, that wouldn't have did nothing.
No.
Plus, if the tornado actually hit, it's going to suck everybody out through the hallway. And I remember, I guess it had hit, at I don't know if you ever heard of Wilmer Hutchins High School, but it was a different part, like maybe 20 miles away from us. And they let us out. And I remember walking outside. My mom was like, you get home and call me as soon as you get home. And I got outside. I started thinking I was in trouble because it was pitch dark and the street lights were on. And I'm like,
yes, sir.
Man, they didn't kept us. They didn't kept us here all night. I'm about to get my butt whooped, man. I was playing that to my mom, and I got home and then the shows and stuff was on, and I realized it was like 3 in the afternoon, and I was like, man, I've never seen it get that dark. So, and then I don't know if you remember. You remember that show, The Wire?
Absolutely.
Oh yes,
it's one of my favorites.
Right,
all-time favorites.
You remember Bodie, right?
Yes, sir.
Bodie's right hand man, the dark skinned dude. I don't know what his name was, but he kind of had like a higher hairline.
I know you're talking about.
Well, he was in Georgia.
Not Omar. But
it wasn't Omar. It was one of the little younger soldiers.
Right.
He was with Bodie now when they killed Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, when they killed Michael B. Jordan in season 1. But in any case, his son, the tornado hit his house last week. It hit his house. It sucked his son out of the house, threw his son 300 feet.
Oh my!
So his son is in ICU really bad, and he was all under the house and stuff. And people, they just destroyed their house, and he was just like. He had this look on his face when they're talking. He's talking and he's trying to answer questions and stuff. And it was just like, man, like the fact that his son was able to be, okay, because I don't think people fully understand how strong those winds are. You can see bales of hay, straw, embedded in the concrete.
Absolutely.
That
is a fact.
Google and look up some of the stuff, the projectiles that, you could get your throat slit by a piece of paper.
Absolutely.
If it's coming the right way. So, yeah, it was crazy. So I was just glad that his son, made it. But I know that's a terrifying experience.
Oh,
so
man, I can't even imagine that.
I'm a weather nut. Like right now is hurricane season. Look, I don't do no traveling to no coast during hurricane season. So the wife is like, well, let's go over here. I'm like, nah, we ain't going over there until January. Between January and June, I'm not going anywhere because I don't want to worry about no hurricane. So
and it just seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah. I'm all about weather, right? I've always been about weather ever since I was little. So yeah, I'm glad she was okay. I hope if there was damage, it was minimal damage in Lubbock. But
and just to your point, I got a call today. One of my players and her dad. I had to get on them. They were literally chasing a storm.
Oh,
trying to see it.
Yeah.
I said, hey, that's not what we're doing. Okay, July's coming up. Get on.
I guess I understand storm chasers. That's what they kind of do. But even they know there's certain situations that you don't put yourself in.
Absolutely.
When you're driving, like a lot of times, they don't try to drive to outrun it. They'll sit back because they're so unpredictable.
Right.
And you think you know what they're doing, and then you get hit in a way. So Yeah, and EF2, EF1 or above hit that car, man.
It's over.
I saw a video of one hitting a train. A train got hit by one.
Really?
And it moved the train, and it broke the glass. And those the windows of those trains are like super thick and stuff.
Right.
And it broke them out, and that dude was freaking out in that train. I've seen him pick trains up.
Wow.
So yeah, you don't need to be messing with that. I ain't trying. Look, I'll admire it from 300, 400 miles away.
Right. Mother Nature not to be played with.
Lord,
that's for
no.
sure.
Lord, no. All right, so now that we've given y'all a weather alert and we didn't freak some of y'all out, let's get into the things that interest us. I want to start by talking about gambling. Now, I have people, that are cool and close to me that gamble and bet. I know I used to bet back in the day. I used to go over Juarez, grab a little card, put a couple of dollars up there. And for me, it was just like for fun. I just do it. Hey, if I win, I win. I've had friends who called me like to ask me my opinion on stuff with games, and then, they win and stuff. But I don't know if you saw a video. There was a video of Gabby Thomas, runs track. And there was a guy heckling her and actually threatening her.
Oh, wow.
About his parlay, and that, she better do this or this and that. And, he's like on video telling her. And, she had a poor showing, and she tried to blast him, and he tried to say he didn't say that, but it's clearly on video with him threatening her. The stuff that you see in the NBA and in football where these dumbasses are threatening people because they lost money for these games.
Right.
Man, they got to get a hold of it.
Yeah, and for me, the minute sports betting became a thing that was like wide open, it's almost like the NIL.
Yeah.
Like it went from, hey, we don't talk about that, we know what happens, to now it's full-fledged. Once they said, hey, NBA, so many dollars in this. NFL, there's a lot of dollars in this. Like, I knew there were going to be problems. Yeah. And I'm sure there's stories that we just haven't even heard of, with players being threatened and so on and so forth. For me, I've never bet. That's just not what I do. Secondly, like, you have people that this is their livelihood. They don't have a job. This is their livelihood. My mom always told me, if something starts out bad, it's going to end bad. Yeah. And so with zero regulations or any kind of informative things that, that we should not do, do's and don'ts, that should have been put out years ago. Yeah. And I think that they made it worse by allowing you to gamble on individual players. Oh, absolutely. Who's going to score 15 points? And I mean, that's just crazy. How many carries is so-and-so going to get? And and it's like you're going to blame a player at the end of the game if the over-under is 5, and they're sitting at 4, you have the ball, they up by 20, and you want him to shoot to score so you can win your bet. And he's not going to shoot if the coach said, "No, we not, hold the ball." Absolutely. Or whatever. It's not on him to shoot, So I think it's corny, man. But I tell you what, a lot of y'all are better than me, because I wish somebody would gamble and place a bet, and then they lose and they message me telling me that what they gonna do to me or my family because it's gonna be more than a problem, dog. I got IT people. I will find that IP address and I will be over at their house quicker, and I'm going to film it all. So I can post it and say, this is what happened when you start messing with people that ain't having it. Some of them people, they good with that. I'm not good with that. I'm not good with that, man. Same with me. For me, it's like there's more. They expect the athletes to have more accountability, and there's no accountability for people running their mouths. Fans, you go to a game, that doesn't mean you paid your ticket and you can just say what you want to say. That is not it. Right. Because at the end of the day, these people are, number one, obviously are human. They have families. They have feelings. Right. Obviously, they're just the best in the world at what they do.
Right.
So that gives us no right to, call them out their names or their families or threaten them at all. But I think more heavy consequences have to be put on people who are doing that at games or wherever.
I figure a few ass whoopings. My old man used to tell me, hey, you whoop that first person's ass, everybody else start, let me go ahead and whoop your ass real quick. Yeah. I used to always joke with my wife and say I wanted to start a grocery store or a store where if people came in and they came in with that attitude, the clerks could whoop that ass. Check out the lady who's checking out what you, and whoop that ass real quick, right? and then, charge them for their stuff, bag them up, and let them go out their way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dallas, Texas.
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen, Dallas, Texas.
I bet you put that on the screen so everybody in the store seeing what happened to some customers who came out there, tripping like that. Hey. I bet you some people get in line.
I'll tell you right now, you have national ratings. You understand me? You will have worldwide record ratings. And you put that out there.
Oh my God! I don't get it, man. And I was like looking at it, and I'm like, I'm trying to understand. Like, it shouldn't be that serious. If you betting money like that, you shouldn't be betting money where you're that obsessed with the fact that, I know that some people have gambling problems and people, and I hate that they put the bet and stuff and they make it all flashing at the end. They say, if you have a gambling problem, you need to call this number. It's like, come on, man, you need to make that flashy and stuff, and you need to be able to stop some of these people from doing what they're doing because people gonna get hurt. I like I say, if Gabby Thomas was my people, I'm like, oh, no, girl, I got that. Just send me his information. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, hey, got the bail money ready. Got one of the best attorneys in the world. Mm-hmm. They got me. What you need me to say? Now, I don't want to say I'm not guilty. I'm going to go right in front of the judge. Yeah, judge, I did it. And as soon as we get this verdict, I'm going to go whoop his ass again. I'm a bail out of jail. You gonna be in the hospital. I'm gonna come right to the hospital and beat your ass again. You crazy, man. I'm sorry, man. It bothered me with how she was taking it. She was shook up by it, right? And you just think about your family member, and I don't want to see nobody like that. So. I know some of my friends gamble and stuff, and I know that that's not them. But man, I just think it's corny to be threatening people like that.
What's even more corny, to your point, is you raising your voice to somebody and threatening their livelihoods and their life period on the spot, and they come and check you per se, and then you're the one calling the police.
Right.
That's what's corny.
Right.
And that's what bothered me. But I will say this disclaimer. The ideology and views of Keenan Cage in regards to sports betting does not fall in line with Lee Williams' ideology. And the things that he would do.
It's body about it. Just believe they're going to be asking for film because, that's the first thing you do. Everybody trying to videotape what's going on. I ain't filming this, man. I don't want nobody to see this. I'm gonna have to answer that. Yeah, Judge. Right now, he said stop like 4 times, and I just kept kicking him. I mean, I was smiling. I didn't black out anything. I was like 21 stumps because that was the over under for what he was betting. I gave him over under, dog. You was over under 21. Let me go ahead and take care of you.
He is on one today.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. I want to talk about reclassifying. All right, so
that's been a big thing last 5-6 years.
I saw it a few weeks ago. They was talking about a kid reclassifying up to graduate, I guess because he was wanting to take advantage of the NIL money and opportunity. So if you don't know what reclassifying is, I'm sure everybody is, but I don't want to assume that everybody knows. So
absolutely.
Reclassification is when you decide as a parent to take your child, let's say your child's in 6th grade. If you can reclassify your child and move your child up to 7th grade, right? Or you could move your child, if they're in 6th grade, you can move your child back a year. I don't know if they can go more than a year.
I don't think it can go
I don't
more
think,
than a
yeah.
year.
And sometimes you can do it because a child might be in 7th grade, but because of the year that they were born,
Correct.
they technically should be 8th grade or vice versa.
Correct.
Now, a lot of parents, I'm not gonna say a lot. There's a segment of parents who have reclassified their kids and moved them down because it enhances their chances of getting recruited. Because let's say the 2026 class is stacked, right? So your child is going to be on the outside of the top 50 in the nation, right? But if you reclassify to 2027, it's still wide open. So now you can move from the outside the top 50 to maybe the top 5 in the nation, and now you get better opportunities from bigger schools and stuff like that.
Right.
So, go ahead.
I've talked to coaches all across the country, from AAU to college and so on and so forth. It is highly frowned upon if you think, reclassifying your kid is going to create a different wave or a different avenue of your kid getting to the NBA.
Right.
Stop it.
Right.
Like, that is not it. You are who you are.
Yeah.
Because let's say you reclassify and go down to the 27 class, the 28 class may be just as strong, and they're coming up to find you.
Right.
So there is, to me, it's really about the work. Be who you are. You have 15-year-old 6th graders playing in games that I just don't understand it.
Right.
You have high school kids playing 7th and 8th grade, dominating and winning, and coaches and parents are okay with it.
So let me ask you, because me personally, I don't have a problem with somebody reclassifying up. Right.
I have zero issue with that.
It's the reclassifying down.
Correct.
That is the thing
that's the issue.
That a lot of people are getting frowned upon, and some people are doing it as if it's a okay thing, and it's not the way. Like to your point, what I've always been taught when I've talked to college coaches and stuff, it gives them the vibe of you don't want to compete.
That's it.
You don't want to compete.
You don't trust your work.
Yeah, you don't trust your work or how good you are.
Absolutely.
And you want to be the best. But the thing is if you're being recruited and you go, let's say you go and you're the top dog, right? You find a perfect situation where you reclassify down. Now you get up and you go. It's not like you can reclassify in college. It's not like they're going to be recruiting somebody in that class of talent that you avoided. You're gonna play against them. Right. So why are you reclassifying? Just look. I always tell parents and kids, like, I'm not about the glamour and glitz. I'm about getting you better. Like, you got to understand, it doesn't go up, it goes down. So if you're starting here and let's say it's 100 people here, if you get recruited in high school and you're playing, it goes from 100 to maybe 20. Those are the best 20 kids out of those 100. Now you're playing against those 20. Now, if you're going to get recruited in college, out of that 20, it's maybe 2. They're going to take the best kids out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're not going to be taking kids that are okay. They're going to try to take the creme de la creme.
And with the transfer portal and these international kids, you're going to get lost in the shuffle anyway. And then so mentally, what is the mindset when mentally I subconsciously know I've reclassified down?
Yeah.
And I'm getting my hat getting to me, like people are dominating me. As one of our former coaches, one of my good friends out of Florida, Panama City, Florida to be exact, Milton Hyman would say, man, when your talent lets you down, it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
You cannot recover. So And I'm always under the mindset of it's not where you start.
Right.
It's where you finish.
I just told this kid I was training today, you know, this first time he's worked out with me, and we was doing it was a simple penetration. It was 2 dribble, pro hop to the right side, but then you jump up and then you finish on the left side.
Right.
He was struggling. And I told him, I said, have you ever done this before? He was like, no. I said, you not even thought about anything like this before? He's like, no. I was like, so don't stress. Relax. I said, it's not how we start, it's how we finish.
Amen.
Yeah, you want to see how you look at the end of this drill, and you should be better and understand. You might not be doing it perfect, but you're going to have a better understanding, so now you can go and try it at home and continue to work on it. But yeah, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely. I had a question just kind of semi outside of this. Because I don't know, what is your thought process or mindset as to I'm training a kid and we're repping a move or a handle? How far do you go till they get it perfectly, or they are like what is the mindset of that? Does it depend on the kid? Does it depend on the athlete?
Yeah, it depends on the kid and their skill level. I'm really big on, I'm gonna teach you this and lay the foundation for you so you can feel comfortable with doing it.
Okay.
But you're going to have to put the work in outside of here, because that's how you get better. You don't get better from this hour. So for instance, with that drill, it was if I could get him to make sure that when he takes off, he's taking off properly and not taking an extra step, right? He's hopping and then he's going this way. So at the point to where if he's getting the ball up with his left and it's hitting the backboard, and sometimes he makes it, sometimes he doesn't, then I'm fine, because he knows where he generally needs to be.
Gotcha.
I'll do it enough to where I know, like, if he didn't make any, we're going to keep doing it because I need him to see him make one in, right?
And I like that. But has there been a situation where you've had to say, hey, this may be a little much?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
When do you decide to do that?
It'll depend on, so like if I'm going to do a rep of maybe 10, if by rep number 4, by number 3, if they look like they did at number 1, then what I'll do is I'll slow it down and I'll do it in parts. So I always start at the end and we'll do like 2 or 3 times. And then I'll go back to the next step.
Okay, I like that.
Do it 3 times.
So you start at the end.
Yeah, you start at the end, and then once I get to the beginning, now they can go through all the steps.
I like that. I like that.
I guess what I've gotten accustomed to is knowing what I can and can't do with that kid. You know what I'm saying? So I rarely get into what you're talking about, where I'll give them something where they can't handle. Because I usually know, like, you know, when I do the evaluation, it gives me insight. Once I'm training them, I know, okay, this is a drill that they can't do. Now, having said that, there are some clients that I have that sometimes think they are in an area where they're not. So it's more of a, okay, I'm going to show you where you're not, and I'm going to show you how easy it is.
Right.
And the first thing that they always say when I do it is, can you do that again? So then I'll do it again and do it slower, right? And then they'll spend about 5 to 10 seconds trying to remember what they need to do. And I'll let them struggle. And then I'll let them know, like, you know, this is why we have to work here. Because we'll get you there, but you got to work here. So that's kind of where it is. I rarely have those situations. That's the first time I've worked with them. So it wasn't too hard, and it wasn't like he wasn't getting it. I think it's because it wasn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. And a lot of times there's like, well, when you do it, it looks really easy. I was like, well, it better look easy if I'm doing it. If I'm charging you, if I'm training you, I want to know that you can execute that without any thought.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah, because I had zero idea. You know, and like I like the fact that you have many methods of like doing that. Okay, let's go back here.
Right.
And so, you know, that's just kind of, because I know July's coming up and some kids want me to try and help them kind of detail some stuff. So
Right. I would suggest, you know, if you demonstrate the move or the skill or whatever it is, dissect it and put it into parts. Part one. So for instance, I'll say if I'm gonna do a jab, 2 dribble, spin move, finish off 2 and layup. Okay, the jab move would be 1. So you work on them and get the jab, right?
Yep.
Then if they're younger, you would go 1 dribble. That would be 2. The second dribble would be 3. If they're more advanced, you could say the dribble part is the second part.
Makes sense.
The timing of the foot and the ball as you're going into that spin move would be the third part. Okay.
Gotcha.
As you spin into your jump stop, that would be the fourth part.
Makes sense.
Going up to layup, that's the finish in the fifth part. So like when you just compartmentalize and you just, it's like you're gonna find that it's a lot easier than what you think it is. Once you start to understand, like the footwork is the biggest thing for me when I'm working with kids. And if their footwork is bad, they're gonna struggle. I get the footwork down. Once I get their footwork down on any drill, they're able to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, with dribbling and stuff. So and it's weird how it just caught on. Like you usually, you know, try to start from the beginning. But I found if I start at the end of the move, you know, and then like rewind it to the beginning,
that's different.
They really understand it a lot better with the turn and stuff. Especially that like the 2 dribble drop step spin move. Yeah, that's like, I think that's how it started, because that was the move. It was like, okay, that's what they're struggling with. So let me start here and get that part, and I'll do it in segments and then put it all together.
Forever learning. Okay. Forever learning, especially in this game. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
All right.
A lot of gems for free.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back. All right, so we're back. We're going to get into our basketball ideology. We was talking off camera. You raised a question. Go ahead and share with the audience the question that you had.
I don't even remember the question.
No, you asking me about the matchup between Indiana and OKC. I think it's gonna go at least 6. You know, you feel 7.
I feel it's gonna go 7. I think just from administration point, Adam Silver is extremely happy because this is how he wants his game played.
Yeah.
Up tempo.
Yeah, up and down.
Up and down, multiple scores.
Right.
You don't have a big 3.
Right.
And so the league is really getting away from that. If you have a big 3 and you have minimal pieces, like you're going to struggle. The key is with OKC and I think Indiana, development.
Right.
What you do well is develop. I just feel like it's gonna go 7. OKC's top scorer is the PG, the MVP, SGA.
Would you view him as a PG, or that he runs the PG?
I view him as the PG because he sets the table for everybody else.
He does. He does,
He really
but
does.
To me, he's more like setting his table, and I'm to me kind of Luka-ish, where he's looking to get his shots, and if you double,
He reads off
then
that.
he's gonna read and pass.
Yeah. But I think that's where it's going. You know,
Yeah.
that's where the game is going.
I just wish it was a few more sets where they ran, where it was a little bit more ball movement here and there, and then you know you're gonna be able to get shots, because you can still get. I'm not saying like you got to run like a Princeton offense all the time, but I think if you put more guys in more sets and more concepts in motion, it does tend to make things a little bit difficult for the defense to kind of hone in. Now, he's special at what he does. You know?
I will wholeheartedly agree with everything you said. What I like is, and the point that you just made is really kind of get more people involved in what's going on, because I think they're gonna, and I hope they can get away from the default setting, because the default setting is he go ahead and takes it. But if he's off, what is that going to look like? So I think that's a good point.
And so let me ask you, how would you defend them? How would you defend OKC?
I honestly would blitz him and make him. I'm kind of like you. Somebody else is going to beat me.
Yeah.
Somebody else, and if they beat me, I eat it. I live with it.
Now I kind of would do the Phil Jackson philosophy.
Longer.
I'm gonna let him eat.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna shut everybody else down, and here's why. Because how many other guys can get their shots off? There's maybe one other, maybe Chet at some point, and but J-Dub, not really. So if I say, okay, we're gonna man up, and if we're gonna put our best defender on Shea, and we'll alternate him. Shea's gonna get his points, but Lou Dort's not gonna get those wide open threes.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to put the ball on the ground 2 or 3 times mid-range, not layups.
Right.
We're not letting layups. We're gonna get you. We're gonna chase you off that three. We're gonna stay to you. Now you're gonna have to show me your Shea mid-range game.
I just think with these two teams specifically, they, in my opinion, they've got 8 to 10 really, really good basketball players that can score the ball. You know, I per se think of 90s and 2000s where that was not the case. I just don't see us playing him straight up and letting him get off, because he's too elite. He can get 60, and if he gets,
that's what he's gonna have to get. I mean, because that's what Phil Jackson. I remember Charles Barkley said that when they was playing the playoffs, and Charles was like, he had the ball. He's like, y'all ain't gonna double it. He's like, no, Charles, it's your night to just go. And so okay, and Chuck went off, but they shut everything down. And I want to say they lost that game because over a series, wide open threes is a lot of what OKC does. When they played against Denver, they weren't hitting those wide open threes. They were struggling.
Yeah, they were. But see, they have another way of scoring, and that's through their defense.
Right. Yeah, but
that's why I think that would be a problem, because those guys really get going on the defensive end. Dort and all those guys, they get out and run and get those easy layups.
So it's gonna filter. Okay, so since you said that, I wasn't going to cover this topic, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it in because you mentioned that.
Okay.
I strongly feel if you can handle the pressure of any situation, the sky's the limit for your team. So if you put the ball in your best player's hands, which would be Halliburton, and he's not turning that ball over and he's getting you shots, now you've taken away one of their biggest strengths. Because they feast on. I don't know why I see so many guys trying to back people down and dribbling out and then spinning to the middle with their back turned, because that's what they're looking for. You should never try to attack them in that way. It should be you should be attacking them with crosses, betweens, and maybe behind. But not any spin move. But if you take away their ability to get those turnovers, live turnovers at that.
That's the problem.
Live turnovers.
Live ball turnovers.
You can't have those live turnovers. So if you take away those turnovers, now it's just about how good you are versus how good we are. So I really feel if you can, as a guard, if you can handle pressure, whether it's traps, whether it's full court traps, whether it's very aggressive defender, if you can handle that pressure enough to where you can be calm about it. When you watch the best to ever do it, you watch how they react and how they're cool with those type of things.
It's a game changer.
Yeah,
game changer.
Yeah. So,
but the thing is, like, speaking of Halliburton, I know I've been on him.
I've been letting you skate on it.
Man, I have really I've misjudged, because I didn't watch a lot of Indiana Pacers basketball.
Hold on. Who was that? Pull up. I'm sorry, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Halliburton just hit a bucket to get Indiana Pacers up. They up by 1 with 0.3 seconds left in the game. All right, man, continue.
Man, I really read this game very, very well. However, I'm not gonna pull a Stephen A. and try and sell it like I'm right. I was dead wrong. This guy here is really, really good.
So let me look and see what he had this game. He didn't have a really good game. He only had 14. Right.
But the thing is, he gets everybody else off.
Right.
He is perfectly made for this team.
Right. And here's the thing. Yo, they aren't one of those teams that they're just lucky to be here.
No.
They found something. No. I'm going to have to watch the game later and rewind it and watch it and evaluate it. Once they understand how to deal with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
I just got people texting me right now. Halliburton is ice cold. They on me. Everybody's on me, man.
So back to what we're saying. If you can handle pressure, obviously they've handled the pressure because OKC was up by 10, 12, maybe 14 at some point.
And Indiana had 14 turnovers early in the first half.
Right. So they learned if you can handle pressure, sky's the limit. And you need to have your guards to be the ones that handle pressure.
For sure.
If you're handling that ball, I can't have. Do you put the ball on your team in your team's hands of the players who don't handle pressure?
I don't. Like, for me, it's about trust. And, just from an AAU perspective, as far as us, we had a guard that we felt was very skittish.
Right.
Had all the skills, had all the tools. But if you can have all the skills and the tools, and mentally, that's the piece that people forget. When you handle pressure, it's a mental piece.
Right.
It really is.
Right.
And once she unlocked her mental, and she just became a different person during the high school basketball season. And that has translated now. I mean, there's obviously still some things that she can work on, but she is a problem,
Right.
And so she's the biggest growth mentally of someone that I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Mia Harrison has just been phenomenal for us this year. Just been a totally different person.
That's great.
And what we try to advise our guards, because we have really, really good kids, but we try to advise them in between these lines, I'm a different person.
Right.
We kind of, an analogy that we use was Beyonce knows Sasha Fierce.
Right.
Beyonce knows is the singer, the love ballads. Sasha Fierce is like half rapper, half singer. She's going to tell you exactly, what Beyonce would not tell you. So
right.
That's something that's very important, and really building that mental piece. Obviously, something that you've done for the last 20 plus years is build that mental, toughness or confidence. And confidence, as you will know, comes with the work.
Yeah.
Parents, please don't have this ideology that I'm going to talk my son up, I'm going to talk my daughter up, and they're going to be great. No, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah. I remember senior year. Now, I always could handle pressure. Right,
okay.
Handling the ball, I can handle pressure. I think my come to Jesus moment, as they say, and I was sick. We just came. We went to Went State. We go to New York to play. Guys,
y'all were doing it like that?
Yeah, we went to New York. We played Grady. Grady was the best team at that time. They had won state there, right?
Wow.
So they had a point guard and a forward. Point guard was like top 100 in the nation. His handles are where my handles are now, but his handles was like that in high school, right?
Wow.
So, we went at it toe to toe. We beat them by 15, right? We get back. We go play Burke Burnett. I don't know if you ever heard of them. We played them at Midwestern State. Now I'm sick. I had bronchitis. This was the MJ flu game before MJ flu game, right? But I'm sick as a dog. I'm in there. They're pressing. They're 6'4", 6'6". You know, they're athletic and tall like us. They had taller guards. And I'm turning the ball over, right? I'm not handling the pressure at all. I try to go the ball. Goes out of bounds. My coach looks at me and said, Paul, what the hell you doing? They can't fucking hold you.
Right. It clicked.
Light bulb. So now I get the ball. They run up. I pump fake. They jump. I'm gone. Lock. Ever since then, it was that bit of confidence. Like, I mean, you know you could play, but sometimes it's like, yeah, I need to hear it. And then it was, after that, it was so easy breaking a press. The coach called off his press while I was in the game. Now, mind you, I got bronchitis. So they're trying to give me extra breaks. He puts me, takes me out. I sit down. One of the other players gets up there, make a turnover. Carry on. I'm coming right back in, right? They press. As soon as I check in, the coach was like, no.
Back off.
They backed off. You know, and we ended up beating them and everything. And but it was a moment in time that I always remember, that handling that pressure. Once I understood, like, I mean, it's not like I didn't understand. I don't know if it was because I was sick, you know, that I was having problems. Maybe I would have had problems had I not been sick, and I was still trying to get used to the team. But man, when he said that, it just took off for me.
Yeah, and for some, it's just like I advise players and clients all the time, like, a mindset change is just like that.
Yeah.
It's just really rewiring yourself emotionally and mentally, and it happens. It really does.
Yeah, yeah. And I try to instill that, like, stop trying to pass over and fake it. When you fake, when they're trapping, when they're running at you, if you do this, they're gonna jump.
Oh, for sure.
And then you go.
Over. It's game over. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that handling the pressure. Look, Indiana won 101 to 110. They up 1-0. Boy, the world is gonna be on fire tomorrow, because everybody was like, "Oh, there is no way they're gonna beat them. They got dogs." Like, look,
really?
man, yeah, they
is
was
that
like,
what they were saying?
They was like, Indiana had no chance because they've never played against this type of defense, and I'm like, what you had asked me was like, okay,
was that the narrative?
That was the narrative. LKC has Shea, you know, and they have Halliburton. Now he's not a scorer like Shea, but he sets the table.
Right.
And I'm looking at this like, I'm looking at it like, yo, like, they like to get into you physically and get under you. They like
full court.
Yeah.
94 feet.
Same thing. So I give OKC the edge when it comes to their bigs. That's why I think they really have an advantage on Indiana, because Chet and Hardenstein, you know, Miles Turner struggled against Cat and Mitchell, you know, so, and then Mobley and them. So he doesn't play like a big in a sense, but he's a big. I mean, he plays down low, but he struggled against him. So that was the one area. And then obviously Shea's gonna get his. But I don't see like a lot of, oh my God, this Indiana's just, they have no chance. They beat Cleveland 5-4-1.
Here is why Indiana will win.
Okay.
Hear me out. People always forget about this. Experience matters.
Yeah.
They have an amazing coach.
Yeah.
Rick Carlisle is a fantastic coach.
And I think that's...
And he already has a championship. Now, he just doesn't have a championship. He has a championship against the Big Three in Miami Heat.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And it didn't go to 7 games.
No, it didn't.
Correct?
Yeah.
So, you know? So just understand experience matters. Just because, you know, they may not be on TV a whole lot, Rick Carlisle is the real deal.
Yeah.
From a player's perspective, as a guy that their best player has a chip with Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay, so Siakam, he's got a championship
Siakam
where he was a major player.
Yeah, Siakam has one. Caruso has one. But I think Caruso has one with the Lakers.
He sure does.
So,
but he wasn't a major player.
Right.
It's different.
So I would give, like, when you factor in, okay, they got this. The coaching aspect.
Carlisle
Indiana probably has so much more. It's so much more of an advantage for them. It could cancel everything off.
I completely agree.
It could cancel a lot of that stuff off.
I think there are some fantastic young coaches in college and in the NBA, just basketball specifically.
Yeah. They
are phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal. To me, they remind me of a GT student, though. This is the problem. And I'm going to use the R word, and I apologize. GT students think, oh, I'm smart in all areas. No, you're smart in certain areas. Like, you have GT students that, like, their math is that of a sixth grader can have the math intelligence of a scholar, a doctor, right? But they can't spell.
Right.
So for me, I say that to say this. Young coaches, as phenomenal as they are, once, you already said it, once people figure them out, they can't get off the default setting. They don't have anything else.
Right.
They don't have anything else in the bag. Same with Denver.
Right.
They just kept doing the same things.
I think Denver should have beat them
if they had a variety of things that they wanted to do different.
They were hurt.
So
they had some hurt.
You know, my mom always taught me from a young age. She said, "Son, don't ever have a plan A and B. You have A to Z."
Right. Right.
So high school coaches, hey man, coach, we're a team that likes to run and so on and so forth. And I pose a question to them all the time. What are you gonna do when someone runs better than you?
Right.
What do you do?
Right.
So people always ask me, I said, I have many styles. I'm one of those guys that like to mix. Like, I don't obviously drink alcohol, but I'll drink sweet tea and half Sprite. People look at me like, what? I said, have you tried it? No. So I'm one of those guys, like, when you really mix things, you find out about, number one, yourself.
Right.
And this game, that's how this game evolves.
Right.
People do things differently. So I think that's where Indiana has a huge advantage. I don't know OKC's coach very well. I know he's highly functional, but they say again, I've obviously never been, but they say when you get in the finals, it's just different.
Yeah, if you hear that when it comes to the Super Bowl and NBA Finals.
Especially
you'll hear players and coaches afterwards will say it was so different.
Right.
And it was a big thing. So that's why you talk about experience. And you talk about players have been there. Carlisle has played, he's won some NBA championships when he was with Boston, right? Back in the day. So he experienced it as a player and as a coach, and he's gotten teams to the Eastern Conference Final and the Western Conference Final. Yeah, back when he was coaching there. Yeah. So with Detroit, I think with Indiana at one point. So he's very seasoned. So he's going to be able to let these guys know about, hey, look, man, there've been some, look, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't honestly see Indiana being that far off than OKC. They play the same type of game to me. So, but this is why you play the game. Because if you listen to all of these, like Chuck said, all these idiots on TV who saying all this. Chuck called this the OKC invitation. He felt like they were going to breeze through it. Yeah, you got to play the game, man. Now, does that mean that OKC can't come back and win 4 in a row? Anything's possible, but I don't see them going in. I don't see them going into Indiana and beating 2. So at best, this is a 6-game series.
Yeah, it's a major problem. I mean, and in the finals, you have to win at home.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's the reason why
you
you
have to know. You almost have to play that first game harder than a seventh game.
Right.
Because that's the game that can turn the tide.
And a lot of times you'll hear them say, game one, it's kind of a fill out game. You're kind of filling each other out, seeing what each other's like to do. But I think it's within that game. I'll have to look at the film, but maybe they use the first half as a fill out.
I can see the first half.
And now, okay, this is what we want to do. Now we're going to make these adjustments because you'll hear a lot of people. At this point, it's not so much about X's and O's. I think it's more about adjustments, in-game adjustments and game-to-game adjustments.
Right.
Because and there's a point where you can look at a game and say, they can't beat them. When the Lakers played the Detroit Pistons in 04, was it 04?
It was
with Shaq. There was a point in game 2 where I looked and said,
they're not going to win.
They can't beat them.
Yeah. LA was trying too hard to get shots, and the shots that they were making were tough shots.
Kobe trying to go off. You giving it to Shaq dominating, but nothing else. And it's like, yeah, they can't beat them. And there have been games where you'll see that. I'm not saying that, but it could be a point in the next 2 or 3 games where you can look in and tell, OKC can't beat them.
And some people are just better.
Yeah, they just better.
It's better, man.
All right, so we're going to finish. Oh, yeah. We ain't forgot. You done lost your damn mind. He loses it all the time.
Man, listen.
All right, so
my record is not very good right now. It's gonna get better.
All right, so let's see if you can get better on this one.
Come on, man.
So
let's go.
We're gonna talk about the best NFL defense ever. I'm gonna tell you who I got. I got that. I think it was the 2001 Baltimore Ravens.
Stop it.
It's the best. Man.
Great team.
Man.
Great defense.
I didn't even want to see what they did on offense. I just wanted to see what they did on defense.
I'll say this about this defense. Trent Dilfer was their quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought Trent Dilfer was the weakest individual possible. Okay. I took a trip to Disneyland and I met him.
Oh, yeah?
I am 6 foot, kind of a wide shoulder guy. I'm walking behind Trent Dilfer. I could not see what was going on. I couldn't see. Like, he covered me up. He was that big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes to show, like, you think these guys are bums and these guys are elite.
Yeah.
So, Trent Dilfer, man, you changed my mind about a whole lot of things.
Yeah, Trent.
Whole lot of things, Trent. So
get in line, Trent.
Well respected, man.
Get in line, Trent.
And you're a great analyst.
Get in line, Trent.
I love what you do.
Because, Halliburton on the way. He right behind you, Trent.
Halliburton, look, man. I was wrong, brother.
Keep saying he overrated.
No, man, he not overrated.
So
he underrated.
Who's your team? Who's your best defense?
Man, listen, this is the best defense ever. Period, by far. 95 Bears. Best
95 or 85?
85 Bears.
85.
I apologize. 95 Bears. Stop it. No, not even close. 85 Bears.
Yeah, 95 couldn't spell
defense. No. 85 Bears. Unreal.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Now, those two playing against each other, regardless of what era,
it's not. You can't score. Because Shannon Sharp would say, Ray Lewis would come and say, oh no, he would ask the defense, how many points do y'all need us to score today? And Ray would tell him 3.
That's crazy.
On some teams, he says, if you score 3, we win it.
That's crazy. Listen, in the NFL, we're talking about the NFL, the highest level, for a defender, Ray Lewis, which I feel is the best linebacker ever.
Ooh, you're putting him over.
Middle linebacker ever.
Okay, all right, there you go. Because first you said linebacker. Okay,
no,
but you
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, okay, LT.
Best middle linebacker ever. Singletary, fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. I think both of their toughness and grit is equal, but I think Ray's ability to see things before it happened.
Yeah, Ray was
plus
kinda,
Ray covered the pass a lot as well.
Yeah, Ray was that. He was kind of that Draymond Green savant,
cerebral type of.
Yeah, because I remember when they played the Cowboys, and it was with Romo, and Romo was, everybody he was killing, and he thought, and Baltimore went into Dallas, and they killed him, and they had talked to Ray later on, and Ray was like, man, they run like one of the most simplest offenses, and it was like it took us, I think he said two series, and we had them figured out.
Wow, I mean, he would literally call out plays.
Yeah,
and the offense is like,
yeah.
Then they go to a check down. He would move the defense. You're talking about one man moving the whole defense. We're talking about the line, the outside linebackers, roll coverage. I know a little football.
Yeah.
See, thought I didn't. I know a little football. So I mean, he was just unreal. But if you look at both of those defenses, you can go online now, which I haven't, but it just early, like maybe 2 weeks ago, I was just looking up some things. But those two are the top two defenses ever.
I'm looking it up as we're talking. Versus Ravens.
Yeah, that's
2000. Okay, so
tough matchup.
Oh, okay. So it says the 85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens are considered two of the greatest defenses in NFL history.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the 85 Bears are generally regarded as a superior defense, particularly because they were dominant in both rushing and passing defense. Let's see.
Ed Reed was on that team.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
See, they led the league in points allowed, yards allowed, and takeaways.
Yeah, see, that's...
Man, these don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I'm going to help him out. I really am. The game was different then. They didn't pass as much. Come on, Kay. I'm helping him out. I love this guy, man. But like I said before, 85 Bears.
Yeah. And you know what? That Ravens defense, it was the middle of the season to that Super Bowl is when it was. I mean, they were still good that season, but it wasn't until like the last quarter of the season into the playoffs where it was like nobody could. I remember my dad calling me, and I was like, Pops, we finna beat shit out of Oakland. They finna beat shit out of Oakland. He was like, boy, you know. I said, Pops, watch. I was like, Pops, I don't even want to watch the offense. We don't even need the offense. We'll just keep giving y'all the ball. We'll keep giving Oakland the ball because he's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So he watched them and he was like, yeah, them boys are some serious business right now. So
man, they are a problem.
Okay, so I might have to give it up.
Let's go.
Although I'm
gonna have to repeat that.
I'm gonna look it up on that was
AI.
AI. I'm gonna look it up I'm gonna look up BI. BI better have some stuff for me, but okay. I guess I lost my damn mind, huh?
Completely. Well, not completely. Slightly.
Yeah, they gave him the edge. So we're gonna leave it from here. I appreciate y'all. I know it's been rough with the content going out, but we should be on it. We should be up. Hopefully this weekend I'm gonna do everything I can to get this up. So I appreciate everything. Like, follow, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. And any parting words, man?
Listen, I just want to really, because people can like, follow, and subscribe, but like we have people calling me saying, "Hey, man, I heard." They literally listen to the whole thing. So that's been enjoyable to hear some feedback on people actually think I'm smart now. So, hey, I told them I had a little knowledge, a little bit. I just don't talk about it a whole lot.
Yeah, you know.
But it's been a great. So go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
It has been. I sound like I'm retired, but no, I'm gonna be here. Okay, whether I got one leg or two. it's just been a really, really good experience, and I appreciate you allowing me to be on here. It's giving me some ideas, and I love the structure that you have. And if the fans, okay, and the viewers could really see his ideology,
all
the stuff that he's got down here, man, it'll make you laugh. Some of it does not belong on this podcast. For another time. Some of it is when we just talk.
Yeah,
when we just talk, man. If we had a hot mic, man,
I be wondering, I be like, and I'm typing it, and then I look and I be like, yeah, I ain't gonna put that on there. I know I'm not gonna talk about that. I ain't trying to get in no trouble, man. But yeah, I appreciate you being here. It's helped tremendously having a second person on and somebody I know, respect, and everything, and going at it. Although you be killing me sometimes with some of your takes and stuff. Sometimes I'm listening to you, and then I'm going back because I'm trying. I'm editing, I'm listening. I was like, should I leave this in here? Yeah, no, I'm gonna leave it in here. We rolling with it. If you coming after Lee, you coming after me. So we appreciate everything. Hope y'all take care of each other. Let's take care of ourselves and others because that's what's lacking, I feel.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna end it like I always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. We out.
Peace.
Street cred sports, say it with your chest. Yeah. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, okay, that's a bet.